Welcome to More Details, Please, with your hosts, Emmanuel and Angela Williams, where we dive deeper into conversations with visionary entrepreneurs to discover what it takes to turn passion into purpose. Listen to real-world stories from self-starters and trailblazers, and discover strategies and innovations shaping a greener future. Whether you are a seasoned business person or just starting out, let this be your go-to resource for inspiration and actionable tips for success. Join us now as we create a brighter, greener future together.
Hello and welcome to More Details, Please. I'm Angela Williams.
And Emmanuel Williams.
And today we are so excited because our topic is innovation and technology. In fact, this whole season is about innovation and technology. So we're today going to be talking about a very important topic that I think everybody should consider, at least, so that it is not so frightening because you haven't tried it before. Right, Emmanuel?
Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you for all of our listening audience for being a part of our continuous series of podcasts. This is a podcast where we really tap into the mindset and the psyche of entrepreneurs, because the entrepreneurship is a really interesting journey, because entrepreneurship constantly forces you to step outside your comfort zone. And that's really, really where growth is. And in this podcast, we have a passion to hear and listen to entrepreneurs and their journey and how they have turned their passion into purpose, because we understand that purpose is very important and passion is very important. And all of it works together to make the world a better place, because I think that's what entrepreneurship ultimately really is all about.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where you are solving a problem, you're figuring things out. So we've been hearing a whole lot lately about this topic of AI or artificial intelligence, especially from business owners and leaders. Everybody from Forbes magazine to entrepreneur.com, Harvard Business Review, everybody is saying you need to get up to date on AI. Don't be afraid of it. It is just a part of where we're heading.
Yeah, and there's a flip side to it that I was thinking through as we approach this podcast, because the information technology and innovation that we are experiencing in these days and times, it can be a two-edged sword. It can work for the good, or it can work towards destruction. And today in this podcast, we're going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about technology, but we're going to also talk about the ingredients and the dynamic that it takes to make sure it doesn't go off the rails. And that's called balance. And so we have some tools that we are going to give our listening audience to just take into consideration, because as we go down this road together, and we're doing it together, and with this technology, it has to be a balance. And we'll talk through those processes.
Yeah, thank you for that, Emmanuel, because AI can help us work better, smarter, faster, but we got to work with new technology and not against it. Now, I'll tell you, I am never hardly an early adapter. So when there is a new version of the phone system, iPhones or Droid, I never want to get it early. I want other people to just kind of test it first before I get in. But the idea is I'm always looking out for what's new in technology, and AI is one of those things. So we know that when you talk about artificial intelligence, you think of big companies. Well, this is not for big companies only, exclusively. This is also for small businesses, and it's something that we should be looking into.
Well, that's one of the things that I try to keep Angela to keep at top of the mind, because this technology nowadays, within a month, you behind, and then something else new. So Angela is a technology wizard, and she kind of understand the basic fundamentals of technology, and she has a wealth of knowledge and information and experience in that. And she started over 20 years ago, maybe almost 30 years ago, in terms of technology and keeping up. But what I try to encourage her to do is to don't wait. You have to stay on top of it and stay ahead of it, because technology now is moving so fast that you can get left behind. But at the same time, just like I was saying earlier, you have to have that balance so that you won't lose yourself like a tidal wave.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about a AI day, so artificial intelligence day. And that is when a leader, a team, they set aside time to test new AI tools, explore ideas, and find real ways to use it in the business. We found a whole lot of ways, and it's not only Chat GPT. We realize there is other ways that you can use technology or AI in particular, and we suggest that everyone explore it. Right, Emayo?
Yeah, and I think before we really talk about AI, we need to understand what is AI. You know, a lot of people just say, oh, yeah, it's AI is technology. But really, AI is another degree of the matrix. It is a field of information where it sets rules, regulations, influence your mindset, your thoughts, and it does a whole lot of things that can control you, not from just a psychological perspective, but from an emotional, spiritual perspective as well. So as we step into this age of AI, not to say that we haven't stepped into this age already, but AI is really going deeper into a mental construct where the ego mindset that is already controlling so many things around us that we don't even realize. This is another dimension of going deeper into that space. So we have to find ourselves first, understand what AI is really all about. And as we step into it, we can't just run into it. We got to walk into it. And one of the tools that we talked about this morning that we're going to talk through when it comes to helping a person as they get into more technology and AI field of technology is what is the tools in our toolbox that we normally use that will help monitor and balance that process. And one of the tools in our toolbox, and as you guys have been following us, we have several tools in our toolbox that we talk about where you can pull tools out of your toolbox, use them for practical purposes, and help you become a better you and to have a better life. And one of the tools we talked about was joy. Another tool we talked about that you can plug in was the subconscious mind. Another tool we talked about that you can plug into your everyday life was peace. But today, in our tool chest, our nuggets of wisdom tool chest that we talk through that we're going to use in conjunction with AI is awareness. As we walk through this process of AI technology, awareness is the tool that we're gonna use to help you to balance that process.
Emmanuel, you're right. I use AI every day, and I purposely teach myself something new every day. I'm talking 10 to 15 minutes. It's not like I go down the rabbit hole. I find something and it's like, okay, let's see, can you really create images from AI and they work well? Or let me go ahead and ensure when my programmer is telling me something either about our programming app assignment or the website, is he telling me everything that I need to know? So I educate myself in that way. But I know I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that's doing this. I mean, I've been reading about CEOs brushing up on their AI skills for a while. We did a previous episode on future proofing your careers and your business, and it definitely makes sense. So, staying up with technology will help you future proof yourself and your business. So, I want you to just consider maybe not every day like I do, but maybe you take one day out of the month or every 6 weeks and learn something about AI related to the tech field. Just keeping yourself abreast so you don't get left behind.
Yeah, I want to go back to when I was coming up as a kid. And one of the things that I think that has been a negative when it comes to technology is that our ability to lose our connection with each other. And I think that that's really our superpower. Our ability to lose to not see the humanity in each other, to build deeper relationships, our ability to connect more on a spiritual perspective, psychologically connection, because we as humans, we need each other. And a big part of who we are that help us to evolve as a human in terms of this humanity is our ability to connect and our ability to have communities where we can connect. So, when I was coming up, we had 3 or 4 channels on the television, and 95% of my day was outside playing, riding bikes, playing with other kids, all those great memories that helped me develop my connection and my humanity to other people. That is a big part of who I am in this particular time. But when you look back on generations, you have like maybe 2 generations that grew up in front of a computer. And it's a different mindset. It's a different way of being influenced. So when we grow up in our native tribes, communities, the people who influence us the most that we are conditioned by is our parents, our neighbors, the lady down the street, our teachers. In that little community is really, really important. As we go into this field of technology, the people who are influences us are people that have an ultimate agenda. So that's one of the dangers that as we step into this computerized technological um, industry, especially going into AI, losing our superpower, which is our humanity and our connection with each other as humans, is one major thing that will determine the type of person and the influences that you're going to follow for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it does. So there is definitely that human part of it, and you want to stay with your human intelligence while you also connect that to artificial intelligence. But it's amazing how much more we can get done, how much more I can get done. I mean, I can tell you, there was a running joke in our company is like we're small but mighty, which was absolutely true. And it's even more so that way now. We can utilize AI versus getting stuck in it. We're actually using it. We test it, we play around, we get familiar with it. So it takes away the fear of this new technology. So I see the benefits in it. So yeah, Imayo describes some of the things that concern a lot of people of losing that human connection, but you can actually use it to be more consistent with your brand, providing high quality services and responding to clients quicker. Because sometimes I think we don't respond not because we missed the email, but or we missed the text. More than likely, it's like, well, I didn't know what to say, so I just didn't say anything. But if you can actually use AI as a starter, not a finisher, but as a starter to get the conversation going, I think you'll get things done a lot faster.
Absolutely. That is definitely an upside. And, as I talk about losing your connection with your community, another piece of it is losing your connection with yourself, losing yourself in your ego attachments that pulls you into unconsciousness when it comes to not being aware to be able to make wise decisions for yourself, because your decisions start to become reactionary. Your decisions don't come from, if you're not careful, I'm just saying, it doesn't come from a place of not reaction, but being aware. It comes from a place of whatever you are experiencing in that moment based on what you are dealing with. That's your reactionary reactions to how you interact or deal within a situation. And in that, what happens is that we lose our ability to be creative. We lose our ability to being able to understand our intuitions. We lose our ability to be able to be our creativity, our intuition, and our ability to innovate. Because when you think about the great innovators of this time, and let's go back to Einstein, one of the things that Einstein always says, he said, I always came up with my most greatest inventions or ideas is when I wasn't thinking, when I was not thinking. He also said that the reason why a lot of scholars can't be creative is because they don't know how not to think. So there is a part of us that is a part of our expression, is a part of our God-given expression that we have that clouds us with, is clouded, is cluttered with all of this information and technology and innovation, and we lose ourselves and we disconnect from that superpower that we have, and it creates a lot of suffering in a lot of ways, and we can talk about that as well.
Yeah, but let's face it, AI days matter because you can teach yourself how to save time. One thing that we all can remember as entrepreneurs or in life, we have the same 24 hours in a day, same 7 days in a week or 52 weeks in a year, same 365 days in a total year. We all have that same amount of time. We don't add 2, 3 days or 2, 3 hours to an individual day. So if you can find ways to save time using artificial intelligence, I no longer think it is maybe I should or maybe I shouldn't. I believe it's a requirement. I will go on the record saying that you want to educate yourself to get ahead, or you're just going to be left behind.
Yes, that is fantastically said. The thing that also we have to take into consideration is our ability to understand how deep this rabbit hole goes. And just to give you an example, um, we start off in our own little communities with our influences, with our neighbors, our mothers, our family members, our churches, and our school teachers. And we went from that to television. Now television, you have thousands of channels. And we used to have two or three. You got thousands of channels. And then you got the radio, you got the music that influencing you as thousands of ways of listening to music. You got your computers, that's other ways of influencing you and pulling you into a trance, if you will. You have phones now that I remember we only have one phone in the house and it was 8 of us and we just have to stand in line before we was able to get on the phone. And that was the way that we operated. And my sister would be on the phone. You got 15, 20 minutes. And then after you get off the phone, I got to get on the phone. So that was it. But now what we have is people go to sleep with their phones. People can connect with people all on the other side of the world with their phones. And the power that bees understand is not by coincidence that people spend millions and hundreds of millions of dollars for a 30-second commercial spot during the Super Bowl. It's not by coincidence by these advertisers that's been paying out millions and billions of dollars just to get your attention, because people now are addicted to taking their attention to something else other than what's the most important thing, and that is within.
Yeah, and you grow within by learning, and here's an opportunity to take that learning by the neck and get as much out of it as you can, not to harm yourself, but really to embrace what is coming before us. So yeah, AI saves time. And I'm not just talking about minutes. I mean, it can save hours, days, and weeks. I mean, we can have dedicated time of thinking, which we call deep work. That's helpful, but we can actually come out of that deep work session and take a look at everything that we talked about and discussed, and then analyze it using the tools that are out there in AI. So it's amazing how you can use it. You can use it when you're writing replies to an email, when you're writing quotes to a bid, when you're writing job notes or checklists, and even marketing. There are a lot of companies that are using AI for marketing, but what I will warn against when it comes to that is if it sounds robotic, then it probably is. So therefore, you got to make sure you have that human aspect to it. But it also cut down mistakes.
And speaking of human access, is that another piece of this is our ability to be patient. Patience is another, and I'm just speaking of the human ingredients, the creativity, the intuition, the innovation, being patient. These are very important characteristics that helps you become a better and a whole person. And I'm not saying a whole person just to make a lot of money. I'm talking about a whole person in terms of how do you find joy and how do you find peace? How do you find your ability to contribute in this world? Because that's where what life is really all about. It's not all about making a whole lot of money because we already know a lot of people that got money is miserable than anybody. And so an example of patience, we have Angela and I, we've been in this, doing business for over 20 years. And we go step by step and we go through our ups and downs. But as we evolve, we grow into people who are able to manifest and attract what we want. But it's really interesting when a lot of these business owners get into business, they think that they're going to be in business for 6 months and then start making $1 million. They could think that they don't feel like they feel privileged. They feel like they don't have to go through the necessary ups and downs and the things that is going to create the things that they have to go through to create a part of them to develop to a place where once they even do get whatever it is that they desire or the prosperity, then once you get to that point, you have a responsibility to do something with it that's going to help and serve other people. So it's an ongoing process, but it's just really interesting how people standing in line are so impatient. People getting into business, they don't have patience anymore because they just automatically assume that everything happens so fast that that's just the way life is supposed to be. And that is a source of a lot of people's suffering.
So what we do inside of our franchise system and organization is we use AI to tighten things up so that things don't fall through the cracks. And that could be training or following up or creating tools, because as a system, that's what we do. We create tools, processes, et cetera, that are duplicatable. We can actually share them over and over again. So it actually makes training easier. Training definitely gets easier when you have a script, when you have checklists, when you have an onboarding guide. So you don't have to repeat the same thing over and over again. You can actually pull from that standard operating procedure, and the next person that's going to do it, they would actually follow the steps. And then, yeah, you want to enhance and update it over time, but it definitely makes things a whole lot easier. I can give you a prime example. Right now, we are actually using a new producer for our show. And what's interesting is she's very smart already, but it's like she said, it was easy peasy, no big deal. I know exactly what to do. So creating technology that's easy to use and intuitive is important. And I'd say it's important in every size of business. If you're a solopreneur or if you have 100 employees, you can definitely make it easy by using AI to create those things that make your job easy. And also it helps with consistency. What we know being a part of a franchise system is standards are important. Our tone, our process, all of those things matter. And for that reason, if someone answers the phone, they know exactly what it is that they should be saying and how to do that based off of the standards that we've set.
So let's now talk about one of the tools in the toolbox and how can go hand in hand, where you can use in a practical way as we venture towards this AI technology and all of this computer technology. And that tool is awareness. And people, awareness is not thought. Awareness is your ability to be aware of your thoughts. Now think about that. If I'm aware of my thoughts and I'm aware of my emotions and I'm the awareness that is aware of that, then I'm not going to be reactive. I'm going to be proactive. And it's sort of like awareness is just wisdom is a part of you, is an expression within you. It's not outside of you. It's an expression within you. And it's like I'm listening to the voices of my ancestors. I'm listening to the voice of my grandmother. I'm listening to the voice of my grandfather. That awareness is always a part of you. It's never not you. And in that awareness is where creativity is. It's your intuition. A lot of times we say, I should have listened to myself. But the reason why you didn't listen to yourself is because your ego attachments pulled you into unconsciousness and you didn't want to listen to yourself because maybe that piece of cake, chocolate cake, was so good, it pulled you into, oh man, I ate this cake. I'm sitting up here, my stomach hurt now. I shouldn't have ate that cake. Well, there was some awareness there, and you know you shouldn't have done it. Or it could be, why did I buy this dress? I knew I didn't need this dress. But you know what? My ego attachments were so strong, I pulled myself into this situation and I lost myself, and now I got this dress. But I'm woke now, and I shouldn't have done it.
So take it back.
Well, I put it like this. There's a lot of people, good people, that is in prison because they lost themselves in their ego attachments and did something so heinous that it messed up their life for the rest of their lives. Doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means that they lost themselves in their ego attachment that was so strong that they did what they did. They reacted. They was unconscious. It is what it is. It happened. What I'm saying to us and our podcasters is that that awareness is always a part of us. That wisdom is always a part of us. And we have to be able to develop ourselves, to be able to be that awareness. And as it continues to grow within us, as we walk along being entrepreneurs, as we walk along the way of innovation and technology and AI. So the awareness is a part of us, is an expression of us, that is a part of a way of us being able to see the emotions, feel the craving, be aware of certain things before we make a decision. And if we have that dimension in us as we go into this computer technology, you won't get on your phone and get on social. You get on your phone for one reason, and then you start going through social media, and the next thing you know is an hour later, and you haven't even done what you thought that you was going to do when you first picked up your phone. That's an example of pulling us into the matrix. And when we become a part of that matrix, then whatever forces, whatever advertisers, whatever people ultimate objective is for them to make money off of you, then it becomes your subconscious download conditioning. And then the next thing you know, you're looking at TV, you see a Red Lobster commercial at night, and then that Saturday you at Red Lobster and you're trying to figure out, how did I get to Red Lobster? Well, because it was in your subconscious mind. But your awareness, which is a tool, is that part of you that is an expression, and is the wise part of you that is able to balance your behavior and actions as you walk down this information technology innovative process.
You mentioned social media. All I can think of is when my phone Siri or Alexa starts answering a question that I wasn't even asking, because it's always listening. So we think sometimes that technology is not in our face because we're not necessarily working on it. It's around us all the time. And as Emmanuel said earlier, sometimes we are not aware. So therefore, we know that our mind is cluttered. A less clutter that you have mentally, that's stuff like, I'll do it later, I'll remember it later. You have more space to focus on what actually matters. And for business owners and entrepreneurs, that is moving your business forward. So for me, I block out time for something like ChatGPT or AI. And when I say that, I'm looking at the programming side of it as well. When I see that there are so many tools, there's so many places where you can go and research for different innovations that are lacking in the marketplace, or there has already been an opportunity in the ideal stage where now from an ideal standpoint, it already exists. Many people know that it is a need. Now, how can you get that technology to work for you faster and sooner? But the key is when you are doing a AI day, that you pick one goal, just one. So for example, if I'm picking the employee onboarding process and understanding what that process is, I'll just pick that and I'll find ways to improve our current onboarding process so that when this process comes up later, we can start to test the results. So here's what a AI day normally looks like. It's simple. So let's say I'm building onboarding tools and checklists. So, first, I will focus on creating a checklist, a step by step guide on how we greet customers or find employees, how we inspect the vehicle, how to communicate when there's going to be a delay. We give a time frame, so it's going to be between 10 and 12. But if there's going to be a delay, how we communicate, or then how do we close out the job? That's an example of a dedicated AI day. I would find out that onboarding all the way through servicing a customer or onboarding a new employee who will service that customer, and that become the one thing that I focus on in an AI day. So it speeds up the learning curve. I mean, it's a way for a new person, they don't have to guess, they just follow the system.
Well, another piece of this awareness tool that we're using, and it's interesting to talk about awareness because it's intangible and it's not conceptual. And most people, or the mind says, well, I need something tangible that I can grasp. I need something that's within my sense perception that makes sense. And that's the beauty about awareness, especially when you realize and understand how to tap into that awareness, because awareness and thinking is two different things. But let me give you and awareness is an expression of who we are. That's one thing. But let me give you a little more in-depth perspective about awareness and thinking. So what is the relationship between, because I just want you to understand awareness is not thinking. Awareness is another dimension to who you are that is connected to a higher consciousness. Okay? And you need to be able to connect to that. You need to really keep that as a part of your everyday life because it'll help you with your diet. It will help you with what you eat. It will help you with not overdoing things. It will help you not underdoing things. It'll improve your life considerably. And it's a part of you. And it doesn't cost any money. And it's worth more than money. So awareness, which is a part of our tools in our toolbox, and when it comes to, the relationship between thinking and awareness is, remember what I said, that your awareness, you're able to see your thoughts. You're able to understand what your emotions are, and that way you're able to make better decisions. When I said your awareness is be able to see your reactivity. Oh, I'm reacting in a way where I need not to react. I need to be calm. When Michael Jordan or all of these great athletes are in their zone, they calm. They're not thinking. They're just connected to a deeper consciousness, a deeper power. And that's the thing that people don't realize. And once people realize that, that's what we call waking up a sleeping giant. Because when you connect to that, and it's all a part of us, when you connect to that expression of who you are, your life is going to change. So let me just give you some basics. The relationship between awareness and thinking, okay? Awareness is the space in which thought exists in. You got space and you got thoughts, right? When that space become aware of itself. I know that's kind of deep to get, but the relationship between thinking and awareness is the space, non-conceptual, intangible, but it's the space that those thoughts exist in when that space become aware of itself. Because when that space become aware of itself, that space is going to become aware of the thoughts that's in it. The space is going to be aware of the emotions that's in it. The space is going to be aware of your reactivity. Your space is going to be aware of what your ego is doing on the inside. Your space is going to be aware of what all of your sense perceptions, your thinking, your touching, your tasting, because all of that is memory. All of that is memory that trigger emotions. So just think about it. When you are that space and you awaken, that space awaken to those dimensions, then you operate on a higher level of consciousness and you are able to evolve and you are able to take control of your life to make the world a better place. And I'm going to tell you, the way that you get into your awareness, The way that I put it like this, the way that you get access to your awareness. And I hope you guys have been listening to our podcast, because one of the things that we talked about was meditation. To get access to that awareness, to that space, is through meditation. And just to give you a little bit of this, when you become more familiar with your thoughts, meditation is the key to enter into your subconscious mind, where there is space. And when that space become aware, when you walk into that space to say, I am aware of what I'm thinking about. I am aware of my emotional state. And so therefore, I can respond as opposed to react. And that is, now you in the game. You're not at the mercy of your mind. You're not at the mercy of your matrix. You're not at the mercy of AI. You're not at the mercy of that chocolate cake. You're not at the mercy of that relationship, that messed up relationship that you feel like you can't get out of. You're not at the mercy of, I don't have the money to do whatever, because you're not thinking of those thoughts anymore. And I tell you, you don't get out of life what you want. You don't get out of life what you want. You get out of life what you are. Because what you are is what you think, what you feel, what you believe, what your personality is, what your reactivity, because all of this is nothing but energy. That's what we are. We are energy. We give off energy and we attract energy. And so when we start to feel what we feel in a positive or negative way, that is what we're going to attract.
Yeah, thank you for that. Your own awareness, I would add, is also what you teach yourself. So what you are learning, that's who you are as well. So I would say for us at Detail Experts, what's most important is keeping our brand consistent. So it shouldn't matter who is cooking the French fries at McDonald's, because the fries always taste the same. Same with us and our brand. It shouldn't matter who shows up, because we've documented the standards for every Detail Expert customer experience. And for that reason, we know that it will be consistent. We know for a fact that it's a balance, right? It's a balance learning about innovation and technology such as AI and that personal interaction. We know for a fact, that you just can't sit behind a computer and study AI or rip off an email that was created by AI and not be able to connect on a personal level with the customers. Because let's face it, nobody loves a copy and paste robotic message. That hurts the brand, it hurts trust, and it doesn't help anybody. And I would say always the golden rule when you're using AI to respond to someone is slow down, because you will miss stuff if not. You want to make sure that golden rule is draft, don't fake it. Don't pretend that AI is you, but instead that you are writing from your own voice. AI was just a starter. So let's talk again a little bit about AI Day. It helps you track your numbers. Every business owner, if you do not know your numbers or are familiar with your numbers, then you might want to question yourself as being a business owner. Get some skills, learn, train yourself, because AI can help you build dashboards so that you can better understand your numbers. Now, it's not sophisticated. I was reading an email earlier from our marketing team, and the email was one of the people that she knew had used AI to create a picture for their podcast. And the picture was simple. It was neat, but it needed some work. It still did not have personality. So it's a starter, not a finisher, because it'll give you something, but it's not fancy. Now, here's another way you can use AI about them. You're learning everything that you would need to know that you hadn't had time for, because you're dedicating this time to teach yourself. To learn. So for example, how to track your numbers. A business owner that's not familiar with their numbers, that's their financial statements, their balance sheet, income statement, cash flow, then they are going to tend to make bad decisions. So you definitely have to understand your numbers. And one thing that AI can help you do is build a simple key performance indicator or KPI dashboard. It's not fancy, but it's something that you can look at on a weekly basis and instantly know what's going on with your numbers. That is extremely important for any business owner. We have dashboards built out that our financial analysts share with us regularly. And we review this as an organization on a monthly basis. But here's an opportunity to use AI to help you out. So if you are making decisions for growth in your business, if you can take on a new project or new employees, or if you want to consult something, you want to understand those numbers. It can also assist you with summarizing long documents. And in my case, summarizing emails. I get hundreds of emails every single day. And if I could find ways to summarize those emails, I would get through them that much faster. And for that way, using AI to summarize emails is helpful, but also summarizing insurance documents. A lot of times they have complicated clauses in them that you might not understand. So you can utilize AI to help you with that. What about bid proposals? We're putting in bid proposals all the time for our services to organizations. So summarizing the key points. So you can watch out for things that may slip past with a quick read. AI can help you summarize so you can know what it really means and what's going on. No way is it replacing your lawyer or your accountant. Those things are still extremely important, but it's a way that it can help you prepare for the conversation. So you're talking about those things that you need to know about, and you need to get clear understanding from the professionals on your team about your business and how to make great decisions. But one of our biggest fears that we have heard and we see in the news all the time is the fear that AI will replace people and take their jobs. Yes, it is a concern and a challenge for sure, but that's why it's so important to schedule an AI day. You want to learn as much as you can. But we know, as Emmanuel said earlier, using artificial intelligence alone is not enough. You want to definitely use it with human intelligence and your own awareness. I don't know, for some reason, it makes me think about a calculator. You can use a calculator to do long division or subtraction or something like that, but you should also know how to do it manually. There was a day when there was no calculator. And I think the same thing holds for AI. So if you use AI exclusively to write all of your communications, what do you do when you don't have access to that? So you still have to use your own human and emotional intelligence as well. Right, Emmanuel?
Yes, if you go to the gym to lift weights and to get your legs strong and healthy, that's a organic, natural way of building yourself up. But what if you never had to use your legs? Over a period of time, you wouldn't be able to walk because you wouldn't be strong enough. You may come up with another idea to get around, but your legs won't be strong enough. And that's the same thing with like the calculator, the computer, and AI. And that's why I talk about awareness that is so important, is because that awareness helps you to be innovative in a way where you don't lose yourself and just be so needy where you can't get around. It's funny how people can't even get around without their phones and their maps and their GPSs, where back in the day when I used to travel, I used to go to the gas station and get a map, look around and pull it out, circle some spots, know how to get there and get there. No problem. Nowadays, it's like people can't even go to the store without figuring out how to get to where I'm trying to go. So that is a part of what I talk about, the awareness piece of it. Now, and it's a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong. It's AI technology is a beautiful thing. But one of the things that I became aware of, which was kind of um, stunning, if you will, is how fast this is moving and how much difference being in business is, how much difference being a consumer is, how different it is. I mean, it's just the world is just changing so fast that I became like, whoa, we need to be able to capitalize on these opportunities and at the same time not find ourselves in a place where we can't take care of ourselves without needing that extra arm or that technology where we be able to do it ourselves if we have to.
Yeah, that's an important question. And I think it's also one of those things you have to stay completely aware of, that you don't come across as robotic or disconnected. So that human intelligence dealing with the actual employee or the actual client, that is just as important as well. So I'm constantly asking myself, how can I use AI to empower myself and our team, our workers? How can we do that? And part of it is we use it to build checklists. We use checklists that's in a mobile app. That mobile app is available to our employees where they can check off that things were done, or just in case they're not sure when or how often something needs to be done, they can use it, but for quality control as well. All of those things work. And for us, using AI to create these tools is helpful. And we know for sure that once we can get totally focused on high quality, people will give their best work. You just have to give them a chance. So, one of the most important things that comes out of my AI days is the dopamine trap. I mean, everybody's heard of the dopamine loop, right? That's when you put in prompts for AI and you get immediate feedback. But then it feels productive and you want to ask another question and another question. So as like Emmanuel talked about earlier, you are racing down the rabbit hole because now you are stuck. But that has happened for years on YouTube or Google. I don't know if you've ever been searching something and then it's like, oh, okay, I'm searching for this or searching for that. Same thing goes for social media, as Emmanuel talked about as well. It is a trap. You're getting results and validation and you stay with it. And it's so funny how AI now, like, oh, that's a good question. Thank you for asking that question. It's like it's kissing up to you because it wants you to keep putting information in there. And I tell Emmanuel every day, we're teaching AI. Everything that we ask them, every time we use it, we have an opportunity to teach AI. And as a business and a brand, that's important as well. You want to make sure that when people are asking questions of AI and it relates to your particular business, that AI may mention you or give a site or quote your information. That is important as well. But you got to set boundaries. So give it like 10 minutes and then do something with it. Don't keep prompting it, asking for other things, but actually do something with it.
Well, one of the things that I just want to say, and I always say this as we close out this podcast, I always say if you're not using your mind is using you. And a lot of people might say, well, what does that really mean? It sounds interesting, but what does that mean? Well, based on the tool that we use today, that was in our Nuggets of Wisdom tool chest, is awareness. And we talked about awareness. We talked about it is the space in which you are able to see your thoughts. It's the space in which your thoughts exist in when that space become aware of itself. So you are able to see your thoughts, your emotions, and your reactivity, and all of those type of things. It's a part of you, it's an expression of you, it's a deeper consciousness that is in you that is laying latent in a lot of cases. But it's a superpower that we have. You ask the Michael Jordans and the Tiger Woods and being in that quiet space. It's like being in a zone, if you will. And we have the ability to tap into that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's not just when you're doing something that you enjoy doing. It's not something that you do when you like doing. You can just do it anytime, you know. Most people, it comes from joy and enthusiasm and non-resistance. All of that awareness is a part of that dynamic structure. But this is what I say. This is what I mean when I say, if you're not using your mind is using you, which means if you're not aware of the thoughts and the emotions that is that is pulling you into your ego attachments based on all of the AI, all of the computers, all of the things around you that's pulling you into that unconsciousness, and you're not aware of that, then you're gonna go down this rabbit hole where you're gonna be in a reactivity mode and your mind is just gonna take you over. But if you bring that awareness to you and you're able to see what your mind and emotions is doing, then you can have some control over your mind. So if you're not aware of what's going on when you're so totally trapped into your ego attachment, then your mind is using you. But when you become aware, then now you aware of your mind. So I say, if you're not using your mind by being aware of what your mind is doing, if you don't have that dimension as a part of what's going on with you, then your mind is using you.
Yeah. So what really matters and why leaders are scheduling AI days is one, so your mind is not using you, but also because you're future proofing your business. Now, you say that real fast. You're future proofing your business. You're staying fluid in AI because it's becoming the expectation. So it's not just big companies, it's for everybody. Future proofing doesn't mean chasing every new tool. Like I said, I usually am not on the bleeding edge of any new technology. I let it get out there for a while, but in this uh, in this case, I'm constantly educating myself on what it means. So it's building a new habit of learning, testing, and improving how you work. So AI Days gives you that safe space to experiment without pressure. You want to learn early. You don't want to wait until you got to learn. You want to learn early. So you're not doing it in the middle of a busy workday when customers are waiting or employees need your attention. But you're scheduling it in intentionally so that you can educate yourself as much as possible on the technology. So stay confident as things change because technology will keep moving. But if you've built a habit of learning, you won't be left behind. So the goal is not to become an AI expert. Some people will. There's even new certifications, like at the University of Chicago, on being a AI expert. You may decide to go down that route, but most people aren't going down that route. But you definitely need to educate yourself. So stay adaptable. So today we talked about why leaders are scheduling AI days, not to chase the trends, but to build a real skill and stay ahead of it because AI isn't going away.
Well, we was in Texas at a conference this past week, and I ran into an interesting gentleman, and what he talked about was very interesting from the perspective of AI is sort of like a foreign language that people need to figure out how to interpret, and that was a very interesting perspective of how this professional saw AI.
So, an AI day is simply focused time to test tools, solve problems, and create systems like checklists, scripts, onboarding, customer communication. But be careful. AI can pull you into that dopamine loop. So, where you feel busy, but you're not actually achieving anything. So, use it with intention. Give it a job, set a time limit, and take action. So thank you so much for spending time with us today. We hope this helps and you see AI days in new ways, smart habits to save time. It's a tool to support your work, not distract you. We appreciate you listening, learning, and growing with us. So next time.
Well, I always leave the show with this saying, you don't get out of life what you want. You get out of life what you are, because what you are is what you think, what you feel, what you believe, what your personality is, and what you react to. And that is totally controlled by you if you are aware.
So we'll be back soon with more insight to support your passion and journey as an entrepreneur. So don't forget to follow us and don't miss a new episode.
Thank you for listening to More Details, Please, presented by Emmanuel and Angela Williams from Detail Experts, the mobile steam cleaning company dedicated to protecting the planet. Be sure to subscribe to More Details, Please on your favorite podcast platform. You can also follow us on Facebook at Detail Experts and visit detailexperts.net. That's DETAILXPERTS.net. We hope you've gained some valuable insights from our conversations today. Stay driven by curiosity, and we'll bring you more details next time.